Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. We left off last video at the bottom of the first drop. This is a very exciting part of the build process where I get to build its inversions and layout. So let's get right to it. Right off the bat, I ran into some problems with the lift hill. The chain seemed to be sliding off its gears. I added an extra gear to sort of guide the chain back into the right spot. After a quick test, it seemed that the chain is working again. So let's get into the first element. I had sort of an idea of what I wanted to do for this element. Basically, it's Hyperior's first element after the first drop, but at the top, it continues to bank into this downward barrel roll. It sounds confusing, but it'll all make sense once I finish it. Right now, the element is very under-supported. I'll build strong box supports to support the entire inversion. What I'm building now is what I call box supports. They're just really simple stacks of support pieces. Surprisingly, the hardest part was keeping the support steady. Usually, my other project supports would all be connected to a central network of supports, like the lift hill. But here, due to the weird angles, a bunch of sections of supports were isolated, causing them to move around much more. Now I'm twisting the track and leveling it out. I'm going to build another quick support for the top section of this element. After adding the support to the coaster, it was starting to get a little cramped in the area around the lift hill. The banking at the top of this element is looking a little rough, so I'm going to add some cross ties and make it look much smoother. I also connected the support to the rest of the lift hill, which made it much sturdier. Here I had a bunch more cross ties and it's looking much cleaner now. Now I'm going to continue this banking down and make the downward barrel roll. This is probably the most sketchy inversion on the coaster. There are only one or two connections holding the whole thing up, and it was not my best banking work. I managed to thread the track through this little hole in the main support structure, and then put it on its bottom supports. The element is almost done. It's taking shape really well, and I just need to add a few more supports. The barrel roll seems to be very under-supported, so I added a beam and connected it to the triangular support section. And there's the finished element. It's looking really great with the main drop, and it's time for this video's first test. The pullout from this element was a little too abrupt, so I quickly made it into a much more gradual descent. The next thing I want to work on is a stall loop or a dive stall. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's basically a copy and paste of the element near the end of Hyperior's layout. This is going to be my coaster's turnaround point and about halfway through the layout. I'm going to build some pillars upside down, like what I did on my inverted coaster. When I want to suspend the track upside down, like what I'm doing here, I find it much easier just to flip the entire support on its head. Now I'm pushing it into place and I'm going to twist the track and connect it all up. These pillars had a habit of falling flat on their face, so I placed down a weight to keep that from happening. Here are some extra supports for the section going into the stall. I'm going to quickly connect all these sections up just for integrity's sake. After putting on some extra cross ties, it's ready for another test. And it didn't make it. It's a pretty simple fix though. I'm just going to replace these pieces with the half as tall versions. Now let's test it again. And it's perfect. It even flies through the stall. The next order of business is to make the half loop and finish the element. I like to start by putting the cross ties on first, and then I'll shape the half loop. I had trouble connecting the bottom of the half loop to the inverted supports holding up the stall. I used Technic pieces to make the connection on both sides. I made sure to angle this bottom part away from the element. I didn't want the track getting too close to the rest of the inversion. I'm going to quickly copy the box supports from this inversion and put them here. After connecting everything up, I did another test. Coming right out of the stall loop, it's going to go straight into a bunny hop. The speed of the train going through this element probably gives really strong ejector airtime to the riders. Let's do another quick test. What I'm building now is going to be probably my favorite inversion on the coaster. We are actually almost done with the whole project. The brake run is just a curve away from this inversion. Anyways, I really like this element because it threads through all the twisted track in the lift hill area. This inversion is going to be a barrel roll. What I'm building now is going to be the next element, but I need to build the supports first to finish this barrel roll. It's basically entirely supported by one connection from the main lift hill structure. I'm going to put in one more beam here, and now it's ready for another test. And now it's the final stretch of the coaster. I'm going to do an outer bank turn, and then just an S-turn into the brake run. The coaster is technically not a full circuit. There was a lot of track left over from building the brake run, and then I just tucked it under the station. I didn't want to cut it and waste all that perfectly good track. However, it does give me the opportunity to actually power up the brake run, so you'll definitely be seeing that working in the showcase video of this coaster. After that test, it seems that the brake run is a little too high, so I lowered it about 3 blocks and then gave it another test. And it works. The coaster's track is now complete. Here are some quick views of the finished product. Thank you so much for watching this video. In my next video, I'm going to show off the whole coaster, I'm going to make it run and hook it up to the EV3.